Salam alaikum. Many blessings, everybody. Today, I'm doing a video on the Dikenga Congo, the Congo cross, also known as Yowa Sa, the 4 moments of the sun, the 4 cardinal points, the 4 winds, los 4 vientos, los 4 puntos cardinales, and I might be doing this video in Spanish also. My sole purpose for this video is not to give secrets. It's only to educate, and I will only be speaking on this concept on what has been published by great anthropologists that have spoken about it, that have publicized also about it. One very famous one that you guys know that I always speak highly about is Dr. Kimbwandende Kia Bunseki Fukiao, Dr. Fukiao. Here is one of his books. I have all his books. He speaks about this concept, Dikenga Congo, also known as Yowa Sa. Other great anthropologists who can kind of take you guys to understand the actual practice of these concepts is Senora Pisal, Rafa Pisal. He's a Cuban anthropologist, very, very knowledgeable. I've spoken to him, very few times. And, I've always begged him if he can publish a book about the concept, One thing is a concept, another thing is the practice. How to take this inside of a room, those are the secrets. This concept have been publicized, so I will only be speaking on that just for solely educational. Once again, it's just education. Because this is an open platform, it's not initiated, and we all know that all of us priests within the higher levels of all these traditions, we use this concept. Within Palo, Voodoo, even the native medicines use it. Like Native American, the medicine wheel has it. Kemet and their beliefs, the circle of life is there. All of this stuff is a fundamental concept within all this spirituality, spirituality in general, the crossroads, in other words. And this concept within Palo, I'll give it from my standpoint and lightly give things the way that I see it, the way that I was taught, and I will take it to the circle of life. This is the circle of life, in other words. For the non-initiate to kind of understand, and people in general, for them to understand what's the purpose of life. What's the purpose of it? And because, when maybe the non-initiated go out searching about Nkisi Malongo or Apollo, they hear about war, and maybe drinking and drugs and all this crazy stuff that's going on these days. And that is not Palo, not where I grew up, not where I was born, not where I was nurtured and molded. It wasn't like that. And it is still not like that. It's still not like that at all. Just for you guys to get a glimpse of the spiritual science that these traditions are. And Kisi Malongo, Ifala, which all of them are very beautiful, but specifically Palo, because I'm a Palo priest, right? Or an Kisi Malongo priest. I also, want you guys to do your own research. Do your own research. Everything that I say is not true. It's not the truth. You guys define it for your own practice, for your own things. Don't be gullible You know, don't be gullible. Don't follow a bandwagon or any of that stuff. Learn to be a leader. Right? Hopefully, the people who follow me, you guys are leaders, your own leaders. You make decisions out of logic and reasoning. You don't let your emotions cloud your judgment. So this concept here, the Dikenga, when did I come to learn about this? The first time that I ever got exposed to this concept was when I was a boy. I was probably 2 months into the tradition. I was just a boy, and I remember it like yesterday. It was after the 21 days after I got my, this is gonna be a long video, guys. I gotta expect it because I take my time. I've spoken about this concept, obviously, multiple times within the classes and all these things. I'm just bringing it out to the light. But I was just a boy, and after I got my name and all of that stuff, you know, I dived right into the tradition. And I remember I was inside the Congo and my godfather, I had me and my younger brother and one of his sons were there too. And he started to teach us this, teaching us this and the circle of life and what it meant, who we were, what we were in reality, and where we were headed, and the sacredness that this concept holds to us as priests. This type of knowledge, to see life through this lens, to understand life and nurture it and care for it through this lens. This type of knowledge here is not owned by one person. This knowledge is from our ancestors within Cuba, within Africa, within Haiti, within all aspects. It's all over. The Native Americans have it also. It's called the medicine wheel. This is not nobody's. This is from our ancestors. The way that they saw the world, the cosmology. And it is sacred. It's very sacred to me. It is a light or a beacon in the darkness. It is a reminder of the stages of life, the ever unfolding process of life, that things are always going to change, and those who are within the circle of life must understand their responsibility according to the stage that they are at. Because everything affects everything. And we'll get into that. And I was in the room, my godfather, and he was teaching me these lessons. The importance of making sure that this knowledge passed on. And our responsibilities. We were young, we were minors, but we were adults. We were priests within inside of a room. At the time I wasn't a priest, but we were headed towards that. And the knowledge that we had to make sure that our descendants received. My God kids, God kids, God kids. And I had a great teacher. And he explained this to me at a very young age. I didn't understand it at the time the way that I see it now. And maybe 30 to 40 years from now, I'm not going to see this the same way. Because it holds tremendous value. Too much information. It is life itself. Very simple. But it is life itself. And I remember the first thing that he taught me, the first thing that he drawed. And it was the horizontal line. From right to left. And that horizontal line is called Kalonga. right? Imagine that nothing is there. This is not up there, the vertical line is not there. It's just the horizontal line. This horizontal line is Kalunga. That's the name of it. And the word Kalunga can mean multiple things, right? We know that it's the ocean, it's the thresholds, the forever change of coming and going. And when we go see Kimo in the Cabo Seki Fukia, we understand that was God cooking the dough. Kalunga alongi bongi ilongi layo ikasen Kimo one solo. Right? God cooking the dough through Kalunga, the grand explosion or expansion. Obviously, when that happened, then we have the Mukala line. But before we get into that Kalunga line, what does it do? It separates Ku and Seke, what's up here, the physical realm, from Ku and Pimba, the spiritual realm. And that Kalunga line gives the understanding of polarity. The in, the out, the up, the down, the right, the left, male, female. It gives duality. It separated the local realm from the non-local realm. What existed before that? I can't answer. The only answer from logic that I can tell you is before any of that existed, the empty cavity, the darkness, the nothing, everything came out of it. Within the non-local realm, the spirit realm is eternal. There's no time, there's no beginning. We like to say it's God and that's it. No explanation, no human idea or nothing. To do that is a disrespect. That's it. The source. Nothing more, nothing less. And it separates, once again, the physical realm from the spiritual realm. Ku and Seke, Ku and Pemba. The vertical line, Mukala, which is this line here, that line represents the process. It set things into motion. It gives the 4 stages. It gives the dingo process. And it gives purpose. Who do it give purpose? The ancestors. The beings. People can say it's the spirits, right? Because obviously we're in Kuanpen by the spirit side. And as in this stage, it gives you purpose. And I'm going to take it to your life. We're going to take the Dikenga, Yowa, Dendo and Sa, to a person, to us. We are all ancestors. We all come from Musuni. Before you were born, you were in Musuni. You were a being, an infinite being. No form, no shape, no physical. It doesn't exist the way this realm is. What it must feel like to be in that realm, I can't tell you. We have forgotten. Obviously, we are finite. To try to comprehend for our consciousness to be infinite. Musuni. God and the heavens, hell, all of that stuff does not exist within this concept. Why do I say that? What I mean by God, I'm referring to the Abrahamic religions and the way they see the reality and life. Those ideas don't fit here. When we're in this stage of life, there's no physical. There's no fire to burn you. There's no body to be in. There is none of that. You're infinite. That's all that we can speak about. There's no gender, no male, no female, none of that stuff. But in that side, obviously, if information exists, because Musuni, the color, I know here it's kind of orange, but it's in reality is yellow. It represents the accumulated knowledge of the ancestors, information, and consciousness. You understand all of those things. You might understand all the information and all the things and probabilities and all of that stuff. But there is no process or no place for you to experience it. That's why there's a direct connection to Tukula. It gives us purpose. When we come to Kuin Sekit and we become to Tukula, why are we here for? In other words, people can say destiny, but that's a different conversation, and I don't really want to get into that. What pulled you to Kuin Sekit? Did we got sent by God here, or did we choose to come into Kuin Sekit? I like to say that I chose to come here, to this realm, to Kuin Sekit. Alright? Same way as you guys chose. When we chose to come, forgot there's, let me do these little smaller lines. It rotates counterclockwise from Musuni Kala to Kula November. The reason it rotates counterclockwise because that's how everything rotates. That's the natural order of things. The earth rotates counterclockwise. Everything is rotating counterclockwise within the cosmos. In our life, everything rotates counterclockwise. So when you see in the rituals that everything is spinning counterclockwise, it's this concept. But from Musuni to Kala, from this stage to this stage, and there's a lot of stuff about Musuni that I'm not going to go in. Right? There's a lot of things that I'm not going to speak about. But let's say you decided to come to this realm. You were in the non-local, the spirit realm. What it feels like, what it is, what you must be experiencing, or any of that stuff. I can't tell you. And I'm not saying that I can't tell you because it's a secret. No, I'm telling you, I can't tell you because I don't know. I'm being dead honest. What I do know is that that place of Musuni or Kuan Pimba is non-local. It is nothing like this here. Nothing like that. So from this point, you've decided to start to come into the world. As soon as you cross this stage is when your parents decided to have sexual intimacy and you were conceived. And this process of conception, this whole quadrant here is very important. Let me go ahead and draw it with the black one so you guys can see it better. I'm gonna put from 0 to 9 months. Right? From 0 to 9 months. Why from 0 to 9 months? Because conception for the human being to come to this realm is from 0 months to 9 months, obviously. Some people have 7, some people have 9, some people have 8, some people have 6, some people have 5, etc., etc. Some people come with 2 miscarriages and all that, and they go, they come right back. They don't even go up. They go straight here, straight back. So this stage in conception is very, very important in life. Right? Your parents are hopefully in Tukula when they conceived you. You were here and you came in. Boom. You in your mother's womb. That's why I've always said, and I truly hardly believe, this is something that I know, that when a woman is in conception, it is the most important time to go see a traditional healer. And for that ancestor who's coming into this realm, to do everything that is possible for the knots or the DNA to be coded correctly, for things to be in the favor of this new ancestor. And this stage is very, very extremely important. All right? Remember, this stage, everything that you think that you are not. There's no form, no body, no name, no nothing. Once you start coming in through conception, all the things that you bring in, all the ideas that become a part of who you are, what do you accumulate in this stage? A body, a sex, or like sex referring to gender, a community, a family, a name, a culture, if you're obviously the issues and problems of the community, you will also carry them with you. So if you're born in a society, within a society, in a town, within this community, within this specific household, and within this specific family and couple, that there's war or tragedy and a lot of drugs and a lot of issues and problems, it will affect you. You acquire a lot of things in this stage of your life. And who are the ones who are affecting you? Your elders within Tukula. Once again, when a woman is in conception, she must go see a traditional healer. The same way she has to go see the doctors. The same way she has to take care of this new ancestor who's coming into Kun second. That's gonna be part of the community, part of this family. There's a lot of things that you acquire when you're coming into conception. There's a lot of things you acquire: religion. You know, you acquire a lot of stuff, siblings, all of this stuff, sicknesses. So it's very important, this conception stage. Look at your life when you were coming through conception. Ask your elders, your mom, your father, the decisions that they made and the circumstances, the environment that they were exposed to or exposing you to when you were coming in through conception. And those are the traumas or the triumphs, the great qualities that they gave to you. If this stage, if there's issues in it, like there's codes or DNA that is not coded correctly, that's where you see the illnesses like Down syndrome, miscarriages, autism, ADHD, all of these type of disorders. So this is a very important stage for us as adults that we are within Tukula to understand. We must understand that our children, our grandchildren, when they're coming in through conception, we must take it seriously, because if this stage fails, once again, we will see it within Kun second. It will cause us problems and issues. The more stronger that we program or encode positivity to these ancestors, it's not the same for an ancestor to be conceived being drunk or having a child while the sexual intimacy, there was no love than one that was loved. one that was planned, one that was cared for, one where this relationship was nurtured. The father and the mother, they were one. They respect each other. There wasn't a lot of abuse and drama and all of these arguments and negativity around this child and gossip. You know, I'm Hispanic, so we know that when people get pregnant, there's a bunch of gossip and this and that. You know, that affects the child, the ancestor, and it's very serious. It is very serious, you know. And, you know, within the Hispanic culture, you know, in Mal de Ojo, we take it so serious here. And it does affect it because we're those type of people, you know, we are those type of people. But it's very important. So within your community, within your culture, think about the issues and problems that the elders or you as an adult look around and see how much trauma you are giving to the new ancestors who are coming in, or your descendants, your family, within actual being coded or actual within their DNA, like diabetes and all type of ailments, or different problems, you know, different problems in life. Very important stage. But here you guys were, wherever it is. You came into the world just like a son. And the gala, represented by the color black, represents a piece of coal. That's why the color is black. It represents a piece of coal. Life. It's full of life. And the color black obviously pulls in all of all the light. It pulls in light. All the heat. Like if you have a car outside in the heat, it pulls in more heat than a white one. The white reflects. So you were like this little sun rising at 6 in the morning. Here you are. I'll say within the United States of America, we'll put between the ages of 1 day or 080 all the way to from here to here, we'll give it to about 18 to 18 years old. Right? From this stage all the way to here, that's your childhood, when you were an adolescent, a teenager, all the way till you were somewhat an adult. You're an adult around here. That's us within our society. 18 for us, you're an adult. Within other cultures, it is not like that. They're 12 and 14, and in the past, obviously, those customs or that culture is different. If you go through initiation, you were considered a man and you can take on a family. If the woman had a menstrual cycle, she was considered a woman. Or the girl had a menstrual cycle, now she was considered a woman and ready to get married. You have your quinceañera, now you can go and get married. In the past, things were like that. Things were different. But within our society, between 0 to 18, right? And this is a very important stage in our life also, right? If we have problems here, those problems, se engendran, they'll move over, you inherit them to this stage of your life. And this stage of life is very important also. This is where the elders, within Tukula, within your community, within your family, the mentors and the elders are supposed to guide you, inform you, build you, nurture you, because one day you will take their place. Within our society nowadays, due to the rat race, due to money, due to the struggles in life and the system that we have lived under, a lot of parents are not home because they have to feed their kids. They have to work day in and day out to pay bills, and nobody's home to teach respect, to teach morality and codes and convictions and knowledge to these new ancestors or people. I don't even consider them people. And in this stage, you acquire a lot of your personality, who you're going to be. Obviously, you're born, they gave you a name, You have a body now, so you have a gender, you have a nationality, right? You're born in Cuba, you're a Cuban. You're born in Puerto Rico, you're in Puerto Rico. You know, you're Puerto Rican. You're born in America, hey, you're a United States citizen now. You know, I was born in Tennessee, or I was born in Texas, I was born in Florida. You know, wherever you're born at, you're a part of that state, society, and the problems and laws that it holds. But you're a dependent. You see, you are told what to do, and you have to live through those cycles. And nowadays, many of our, let's say, teenagers, adolescent children are taking responsibilities of adults. Some people have those cards dealt to them. Some have golden spoons. Some have silver spoons. Some don't have no spoons. They weren't born with a spoon at all. They live in very bad neighborhoods. They're in very traumatic situations in life. Who are responsible for that? The adults. Those are the ones who are responsible. But it is okay, because these adolescents, teenagers, or young adults, children, they're going to once be adults, full within Tukula. And they will learn through life, mistake after mistake, either if they have a good head on their shoulder or they don't. In this stage, you acquire everything like a sponge. You have to be very careful, obviously, with the music that you listen to, the foods that you eat, the decisions that you make, what you're exposed to, because it can become something natural. There's people who live in very bad neighborhoods that seeing drugs and drug addicts and junkies is something normal to them. There's many type of situations of life, and that is life. Everything under the sun. But us as adults, I'm speaking to us as adults, all of us here, hopefully we're all adults, have to understand the importance and the guidance that our descendants require of us. Within our tradition, the neophytes, it's very important that we teach them the rules, the conduct, the secrets, the morality, the practice, because one day they will take our place, us as priests. Once we're 18, here we go. We can say this between 18, we'll put at the top over here, we'll give it to like 40 for men. 40 for men, from 18 to 40 for men. You can say that for women too, but obviously for a man and a woman, the cycle of life changes a little bit, or the circle of life changes a little bit. 18 to 40. We're gonna start to ascend. We're in our 35s and 40 years old. We're within Tukula. As men, we are at our brightest. All the potential. We are adults. We are working within the decisions for everybody else. For everybody. We are the ones having kids and taking care of elders. Whether our parents passing away, our grandparents passing away, at the same time we have kids. And this is a very important aspect of our lives. We are the ones that fulfill what we came here to do. That's why we have a direct connection. What was your purpose? What did you serve to the community? If you came here to cook fried chicken, make sure that your fried chicken is the best fried chicken that you could cook. If you came here to be a therapist, be the best therapist that you can be. If that's what you got that calling, render it, give it to the community. Make sure that we serve our communities, that we lead for the future leaders. Very important stage in life. And this is what we came here to do, to cause change. And there's two ways change can go, for negative or positive. And what I mean by negative and positive, I'm referring now I'm not going to use the word negative and positive. I'd rather say good or bad. Good or bad effects. We can change things for our favorable outcomes for our community, or obviously non-favorable outcomes for our community. It's very important that we take this seriously, and I'm coming up on this stage in life. And this is the reason why I'm on YouTube. This is the only reason why, to guide the bit that I can. I have young ones under me. What I mean by young ones, I'm referring to kids. I have responsibilities in this stage. We all do. Major problems in this stage. And we are all causing change, whether we like it or not, day in and day out. Many of us, when we see this stage in life, we think about richness. We think about our egos cloud our judgment, and we desire to have certain things in life that the media projects onto us. And it takes away from the actual sole purpose of what we're here for. And it is, I must keep that to the end, and it is to experience. I'm going to say it, I think. It's just to experience and to cause change in a positive way. We're here to cause change in a positive way, in a good way. Whatever is bad, whatever is hurting our communities or us as people, or within ignorance or within egotism, within division, we have to change it for the better. All the greats, our ancestors, Martin Luther King, George Washington, whoever you want to consider, Malcolm X, Thich Nhat Hanh, he was a famous monk, right? Thich Nhat Hanh, all of them, with the Duality, they cause change. We have to be very careful. How are we causing change? Because we are affecting one another. Jeff Bezos affects our lives. That's why he's well known. Many people's lives. All these multi-million-dollar companies, they're all affecting us. Even the school teacher affects us. Benjamin Franklin, who invented the light bulb, when he was in Duality, whatever, he was probably a little bit older, affected us. But his mother is the one who also affected us, because obviously he was a special need person, and she's the one who told him that he was special. And he continued to look, he made the light bulb. So you see, he had the fame, but who really influenced that out of him was his mom. Every person that we come across that touches us, they can teach us a lesson. They are the ones who peel the onion or unravel who we truly are meant to be, what we came here for. They help us shed our skin day in and day out through experiences, good ones and bad ones, for us to cause change once again for the broader community. This stage is very extremely important. We that are here with Duality are watching over this and are also taking advice from the elderly, the older people who were in these positions. We have to start to be conscious, just like the sun at 12 o'clock in the noon. It is at its brightest. This is where our minds, our spirituality, who we are, is well defined. We're very bright. Our maximum potential is there within all our aspects. You can take it to any aspect of life, any circle, any phase of it. Duality is at its maximum. As we start to descend, we'll say, between 40 all the way to, let's say, 65. As we start, or 70, you can put 40 to 70. As we start to descend just like the sun, we're in that stage, and we'll end up being grandparents. And other problems of life, other situations that will be causing change. At this stage, you'll see that we'll have a little bit more time with our grandkids, the situations for our sons and daughters and the broader community that we will give advice, but we're not as active anymore. You know, we're not as active. The decisions that we make here affect everything, the whole. Range from 65 or 70, you can say 65, let's say to like 100, till you pass away. You become elderly, once again dependent. And it's very sad, you know, for Hispanics, we all know that the elderly for us is something that is very respected. If we can, you know, move the mountains to make sure that our grandparents or our mothers and fathers don't hit a nursing home, we will do it. We will sacrifice ourselves to do that. But many of us forget, many other cultures or other people, they forget about the elderly. They forget that they're dying in nursing homes and don't go visit them. When they were the catalyst of who you are. When they were the ones who made the decisions to help you out, to make things better for you. And then once again, it's very important for these elderly people to live that stage and have a lot of love, a lot of warmth in that stage. Because if you think that this stage doesn't get lonely, you do. That's why many of these traditions, they speak about children and grandchildren. So when you get old, we are filled with, you know, big families and a lot of warmth and love within the circle of life. But as of right now, within our society, there's many people, elderly people, who are alone. They can't take care of themselves. Their kids and grandkids, but specifically the kids, forget about them. And that's a very sad stage to transition from Kuun to Kuun Bemba. And then obviously the issues and the problems come with these spirits, with your ancestors. Because you weren't there. You were too worried about chasing money. You were too worried for that. Because at the end of the day, material possessions, they're only worthwhile for the moment. They're not eternal. So material possessions and the way that we see life, that the more that you have, the more of a person that you are. And in reality, the more that you have, the more that you want. And you're never going to be able to fill that void. That's why in many of my videos, I always say that the most important thing that I've come to realize in life, besides health and all that stuff, is relationships. A relationship and networking is the most important thing, alongside with respect, morals, codes, and all other things. How? But relationships. Due to the fact that that can move mountains. Because we all need from one another, and we're all learning from one another at the end of the day. Once we transition over, I like to call this the ghost stage. This is the ghost stage, right here. If you lived a long life, obviously this is Lumbemba. Lumbemba, when you pass this stage of life, is represented with white. Piece of coal, one is burnt up completely, like it's on fire. That's why it's red. And then white, because there's ashes. There's white or greenness. And Pemba, or Kuun Pemba, Kufwa. You see what I'm saying? This side is represented with that, with the whiteness, death. And everything in life that is white, within nature, you look at it, is death. I know within our tradition we see white as holy, as clean, as pure, which is true, but that color white represents death. Why? Everything in nature, the seasons, like December, the snow comes, everything is white, and everything is dead. The body turns pale white when it dies, no heat, nothing's emitting, it's cold. So this stage is very important. When there's other aspects that we can see to change. This represents death or change. And the process moves on. We're taking it to a person, so obviously that person have let go of who they are. Boom. And now they are a ghost. The same way that you acquired a name, a gender, a body, all this stuff here, in this stage, you have to learn to let go. You acquired it here, you have to let go. You acquire things through these stages, and you go letting go, shedding your skin like a snake. And obviously, when you're in this stage as a ghost, this is where Kalonga comes into play. But let's say that the person does accept and let go, then they'll continue back to who they truly are, back to Musuni. You see, who they truly are. That's it. That's the whole circle of life. Now, if you don't live all those stages and you die or you transition due to natural processes or actual medicine caused or bad decisions that you made, overdoses or tragic car accidents or any of that stuff, a family member or yourself, you don't live these stages or any of this stuff. Let's say if somebody's 32 years old, they have kids, they have a family, they have parents, all this stuff. And by bad luck or bad decision, they get a tragic car accident and pass away. It happens. It's happening now as I'm speaking. There's people passing away, transition. And many people are being born at the same time. Those people that transition, if they didn't live the full cycle, they get stuck as a ghost. Right? They call it Dundu. And Dundu, a ghost. Right? Or Fumbi, a ghost. And this ghost is watching out for their family. It's attached to their family. That person, or let's say is a male, he was 32, he passed away. You don't think he has kids, and he's not going to think about his kids. That father's not going to think about his kids. Or that mother's not going to think about their kids. You know, the spouse and the grandparents and all of that, and all the emptiness and trauma that are left. That ghost is going to be there. Some people are forgotten after days. Some people do pass away, like back in the day, in the 30s and 18s and 40s and world wars. A world war or any of that stuff, and they get left in the cemeteries and they're a ghost, dealing with those traumas and those experiences. And this is where Kalonga comes into play. We obviously make agreement with these ghosts or spirits. We move them on to Musuni, to a community of spirits that are just like it, with knowledge. We materialize them and bring it back to Kumansiki, when those pots or statues or whatever. And they live life through us to cause change, once again, for the broader community. And this is the purpose of a circle of life and what Paulo has to do with it. The dead or the ancestors are very involved in all affairs. We are all ancestors. When you see those pots or Dikenga, it is an ancestor. It is his body. That's why it's all made out of nature. At the end of the day, and this is the circle of life. And I want to speak about the body. And I spoke about it in one live. When you acquire your body, many people think that the flesh, is who you are. And we must understand that in this stage, you accumulated that. How you accumulated it? Obviously, your mom was consuming, milk and rice and steak and lettuce and all of these things. Heaps of nature, pieces of nature, and that made your body. It literally made your body. The banana, the lunch that you just ate earlier today, or the dinner that you ate, it became a part of your body. Builds cells literally off of that banana, and the steak and all of that, all the food that you eat. And when that what you acquire over a period of time, anything that you acquire over a period of time, it can be yours, but it's not who you are fundamentally. When it comes to being physical or even expressions, ideas. Um, in other words, I acquired this marker, I acquired all these things, this house and family, my wife, and all of these things. I can say I have acquired it over a period of time. None of that is who I am. This marker is my marker, but it's not who I am. Same thing as this body. I acquired it over a period of time. It is not who I am. Same thing goes for the Ndundu, spirit, and Fumbi. It has its expressions, but it has no body. It remembers, but it has no body. So that's why we materialize it. We give it a body. Back in the day, they did it in statue formats, right? You see in Kisikundi, you're gonna go hunt, or any of those things. Or you see a Koso or any of those other type of Inkisis. And then it's obviously things evolve into boombas and all different types of pots, all different types of parcels, containers. But at the end of the day, it is a container for this ancestor, whether it's blood relative or not. Is there enslavement? People do grab ghosts from here that are enslaved. So I say be very careful. You know, this ghost have continued, or the spirit has continued, and you try to make treaties with it, and it doesn't. It doesn't agree, and you force it. That type of medicine or those treaties, I don't do that type of stuff in power. You know, that's a different conversation. That's kind of too in-depth of things. I don't want to go involved. I just want to give a little bit overview. But this is the Dikenga Congo, Musuni Kala Tukula Mbemba. And it is everything. All processes have this. This conversation, this video, had conception, birth, maturity, and change. When you finish this video, change. For once again, conception, birth, maturity, and change for affect your life. Everything has it. This video, this marker, this whiteboard, you know, the iPhone that I have there, this book, everything has it. It's the 4 stages of life. And it's very important that us priests understand our responsibilities within the circle of life. The dingo munikaye solo. Divination, I'm going to talk a little bit about divination. We have 4 positions. This is the reason why we use, obviously I'm going to grab one only, 4 chamalongos, right? Or yampudo, how you call them. Or at least I use 4, right? Because it represents those 4 cardinal points or 4 moments of the sun. And it's explaining the processes and how things are unfolding. For the people who have bought my book, The Scrolls of Time, I've always said, reach out to me. Many of you guys have been in my classes, divination classes, and all of that stuff. And you know, you guys have heard of this stuff. I can't teach divination without the concepts. It's very important that we understand this concept so it can give us direction. But what's the whole purpose of this? It's to experience, to live the good, the bad, and the ugly, and to come to understand that things won't always be the same. When you are up, understand that sooner or later you're going to be down. And when you are down, sooner or later you're going to be up again. And when I was younger, I had issues with that. I had a lot of issues with that. There was good days and bad days. I'm like, well, why always some problems come out? Until I started to live the circle of life. And divination is heavily involved in all of these things, codes and all that stuff. The purpose of life is to experience and to cause change where it benefits the whole. That's why we have rules, that's why we have societies. And if you think that you're a king or a queen, a great CEO or a millionaire, or you're at the top of your position, understand that you're not always going to be there, that somebody's going to take your place sooner or later. And you have to prepare yourself for that. And at least make sure that the one who takes your place is somebody better, because he'll change it for the better. Always understand that. Obviously, legends and those type of priests who are one of a kind, like I consider my godfather one of a kind. Nobody will be ever better than him. Oh, he's my godfather, so I'm always going to say that. I follow in his footsteps, but it's been very hard for me to fulfill his footprint. When it comes to my personal practice, understand that this is the circle of life. People think that death and change happens only to others, only when we come to realize that it'll happen to you. As I speak here right now, whether this has happened to you, that one family member has transitioned this week, or today, or tomorrow, or the next day, it just touched you. So remember that time is ticking. There's an endless cycle unfolding, and things will never stay the same. You can steer by your decisions. The same way I have decided to make the decision to speak about this video, to steer the new initiates, non-initiates, and people to become aware of the circle of life, the importance of us as adults willing to gula, to guide the people in need, the same way that we were guided. And the real ones, I was guided. There's people who weren't, who had very rough upbringings or very traumatic situations within the tradition or within their lives, and they changed for the better. Those are the real stars, or the real people that we have to applaud, because a plant or a seed that was planted in sick soil, wasn't watered, and too much sunlight, and there was a lot of bugs, and it ended up being a flower. It had more courage, more heart than one that was planted with love, nurtured, and cared for, and it flowered. You see, I am who I am today because I was nurtured very well, and I was cared for, and I was lucky. But there's many people out there that I look up to on a personal level as priesthoods, that they had very bad upbringings and hard situations, and they changed for the better. Long shots, a miracle, an underdog. And those are the stories that I have as priests. There's quite a few priests that I've spoken to, that they're very mature and they're adults. They don't waste time with all this foolishness within our tradition. This is part of our traditions, all of them. And once again, we're only here for a short time. Reach out, go on Amazon, see if you can get Kimo Dende Kamuseki Fukiao. I highly advise all his books, are very knowledgeable. Rafael Pisal, once again, amazing anthropologist. I'm hoping that he publishes a book about the circle of life through the Afro-Cuban diaspora way in Palo. That would be amazing, an anthropologist. If you guys, obviously my books, they're in Amazon, The Scrolls of Time, Binary Codes of Nkisi Malonga. I have a few more books coming out. If you guys acquired it, and you guys need help with divination or any of that, many of you guys reach out to me. I have classes and all that stuff. Just email me if you guys got my personal number. You guys know that stuff. Any questions or any of this stuff about the Dikenga, I can answer to a certain extent. Certain things, if you reach me personally, I can answer those stuff for you guys. Leave them down in the comments. Always subscribe, share, subscribe. And I'm gonna go ahead and leave you guys with a singa Dikenga Ninga Katu Bukako. Alright, many blessings, and thank you guys for your time.